So next up, we have AwanTunai, where they're going to share all about their app-based order management system, which allows its downstream customers to order inventory remotely. Hello, AwanTunai. Are you raring to go?
I certainly am.
All
Thank
right,
you.
it's good to hear that. 5 minutes, your pitch starts now.
Hi, I'm Dino, CEO of AwanTunai. We've developed a supply chain operation system with integrated financing to solve the unbanked micro SME problem. Now, our solution also happens to alleviate the pandemic disruption within the supply chain. The pandemic disruption has actually been especially acute in traditional economies, where a lot of the supply chain transactions are face-to-face, payments are made with physical cash, and there's minimal credit bureau coverage to support financial inclusion by the banks. Case in point is Indonesia, where conditions like majority of trade being offline, heavy reliance on physical cash, and minimal credit bureau coverage, they all leave the Indonesian supply chain vulnerable to shocks, such as the COVID pandemic. Lockdowns have created difficulties for physical transactions, and supply disruptions increases the need for working capital at a time when banks are actually reducing lending, let alone try to increase financial inclusion. So, AwanTunai's solution to solve the unbanked problem was to digitize supply chain transactions for data. We digitize the transactions of merchants ordering and paying for inventory, which millions of micro merchants actually do so physically right now. Our SaaS solution, one, captures inventory purchase transaction data, two, validates that transaction data via payment acceptance and inventory management, and three, we monetize through the provision of much needed cheap working capital to unbanked customers. Now, let me go through each component of our SaaS system in more detail. Micro merchants typically handwrite inventory orders, they photo it, and send it to their suppliers via WhatsApp. Now, we've managed to digitize this manual process by in-app online ordering to capture this valuable transaction data. This inventory purchase data we actually use for credit underwriting. Because when you think about it, what a grocery store purchases for their inventory every single week is highly predictive of business performance. But user input data has been notorious for being unreliable, especially when there's money involved. So we validate the inventory purchase data by payment acceptance at our partner suppliers. We install ETC terminals, sometimes we have full POS systems to replace their cash registers, so that we know the merchant orders are actually being paid for. They're real transactions, not just made up user entry information. We also validate the purchase data by implementing inventory management systems for our partner suppliers. Now, a lot of our suppliers are traditional. A lot of their systems are controlled by pen and paper. So, the innovations that we bring here allow us to know that the merchant orders are being fulfilled as inventory leaves the warehouse and being delivered to the shop. Finally, all these validated transaction data allows us to underwrite these previously unbanked micro merchants and provide them with bank-funded working capital to purchase their inventory. So our solution to solve the unbanked micro SME problem has actually strengthened the Indonesian supply chain. Previously, face-to-face transactions and paying with physical cash are now digital transactions on our system. By doing this, we've digitized a mass of valuable KYC and transactional data. This data is highly predictive of credit performance so that we can provide low-cost inventory purchase financing funded by our partner banks. And we can do this at scale. By partnering with wholesalers, there's only 16,000 of them, and through these partnerships, we can deploy bank lending capital to over 3 million traditional grocery shops. And we've done this to the tune of over $60 million since last May. We've managed to triple our sales volumes during this pandemic year and achieve a monthly loss rate of less than 1%. We have a model to bank the unbanked at scale. And banks trust us to actually originate loan assets directly onto their balance sheets, some even directly by API onto their core systems. I'm grateful for the support of the Indonesian units of OCBC and UOB, as well as our other local institutional partners. We have the team to execute this ambitious goal, nothing short of banking the millions of unbanked micro SMEs out there. Our team is a combination of banking, supply chain, FMCG, and tech talent. We're excited our model is helping a host of unbanked micro SMEs, as well as strengthening the capacity of our supply chain customers to weather the COVID pandemic. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the wonderful pitch, AwanTunai. And now we're going to do a Q&A with the judges, 5 minutes on the clock. And our first question comes from Victor. Hello, Victor, your question, please.
Hi, this was very interesting. Thank you so much. So just to understand, how much of the value chain do you currently have to replace or take over in order to be able to for your model to function well? And how do you deal with legacy, processes or technologies, even when you meet them?
Sure. I mean, this is not the first time someone's tried to digitize the downstream supply chain. But typically, a lot of these efforts by banks and principals like Unilever, Coca-Cola, they tend to stop at the distributor level. There's very difficult tech adoption at the next level low, which is the wholesalers, and even the next level below that, which is the end, mom and pop shops, retailers. So we concentrate on the downstream supply chain, which are a host of these kind of fragmented independent wholesalers. Now, typically, they don't have their own ERP system, so that's where we bring in our technology to help them digitize their operations, as well as provide financing for their customers, which are these mom and pop traditional unbanked stores.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you very much. Our next question comes from Walter. Walter, your question, please.
Hi, great idea, great presentation, super useful product. My question is just really about platform build out from a utilization perspective or customer. How do you build your distribution of your products with the potential users? How are you building your user base?
So as I mentioned, tech adoption has been notoriously difficult, especially kind of like at that bottom of the pyramid segment. So, we've always known you need some kind of face-to-face interaction, and trust is also a very important thing. So we actually partner with these independent wholesalers, the 16,000 kind of independent wholesalers I referred to. As we sign up, and install our systems there, our team actually trains all their employees to learn how the app works, so that they can show it to their micro retail customers and teach them how to use the app. Because we provided incentives like up to $30, which is a lot of money for these folks, right? To just download the app and use it independently. It's not a money issue. It's a capability issue, and I think that's why we train the wholesalers' employees so that they can sell on our behalf, and in a way train the folks at the bottom of the pyramid to use the technology.
I think the judges are very satisfied with the answers. Thank you so much, AwanTunai, for checking with us, and all the best.